Doubled up 3 times today. There you go.
Spotsticker was one of the first companies back in the early 90s that were making a large hook, thin wired jig head for shaky head fishing. This was back before people really knew what shaky head fishing was. And these guys actually introduced me into this back in the 90s. And as it grew, they grew the business for a while. And then I took it over in 2010. And I've added a lot of different types of jig heads and kind of expanded the business a lot more. And a few years after I bought the business, I also bought another spinnerbait business out of Texas. A lot of people remember SOB Fishing Products and Bill D out of Texas. He did a line of handmade, handcrafted spinnerbaits that I also used and endorsed for years. And unfortunately, Bill passed away, and I bought the business from his wife, and we've taken that on and kind of merged it with Spotsticker for the past 8 years.
Yeah. And you've really grown it from, a relatively small company into what it is now. And, I see you every year at different shows, and especially the East Tennessee Fishing Show, man. You've got just an incredible display of baits and, virtually every kind of configuration and color and style you can think of. And you've got a new one out that you sent me some pictures of. And I think we've got it maybe queued up to go. That is a cool looking bait. I need to have one of those things to go out fishing here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, that bait we call the Bait Man Special. A lot of people in the fishing world know Kevin Baxter, and Kevin runs a podcast and he does a YouTube show about fishing, and he's helps a lot of smaller companies like myself and works with a lot of people. And Kevin had this color that he's been using on some of the Tennessee River lakes for years and years, and wanted us to make a special color for him, and we did. And that is it's basically a purple and chartreuse skirt with a little bit of shads in it as well. We make it in our shad head spinnerbait, which is our standard frame bait, and we also make it in our mini me version, which you guys know very well. It's our compact bait with painted blades as well as nickel blades, and it's been a really good selling bait so far this year. And from what I understand, it's really killer bait up on all the Tennessee River lakes.
Yeah, that whole color combination, when you think of, crankbaits and lipless baits and even jerk baits, that purple chartreuse color, especially here in the springtime, awesome combination no matter where you go. And one of my other favorites that you make too is, I had got to see some of these from you last year. I was going to, where was I going? I forget where I was fishing. Dale Hollow. In early spring, muddy water, dirty conditions, water was cold, and you had painted some and posted it on Facebook. Hey, I've got these in stock, and it had a little orange blade on the front. Man, that's just a killer deal in the spring.
Yeah, I've actually got some of those here going out. I'm in the shop now, still working, and we've got some of those guys here, just packing them up now to go to Tackle Warehouse. So this is our orange kicker shad head, which is our standard green bait. It's white and chartreuse. We put a little orange on the throat splash on the back. We add orange eyes, and then we use a really high finish premium gold plated blade on ours that have a lot of flash on it. So like to get really good in dirty water. And we make this in a lot of different versions. We make it in our mini me with a double orange gold willow. We make it with the Colorado and a double Colorado. So that has been a really good selling bait, really for everyone in the fishing world, spinnerbait world, the last few years. But we've done exceptional with it at the shows as well as on our orders.
Yeah, and that's your other spinnerbait. Now the mini meat is a bait that you've had for quite a while. In fact, I think when you and I fished back there 12 years ago, that was the bait that we threw along with jerk baits and some other things too.
Yeah, SOB Fishing Products was one of the companies back in the 25 years ago that were making this compact spinnerbait. So this is an actual 3/4 ounce spinnerbait here that has all the weight below the shaft, the skirt right there. And they made this bait back before almost anyone knew about a compact heavyweight spinnerbait. And Lake Lanier and our lakes around here, Hartwell, all of our lakes are clear water. A lot of them have spotted bass. They're also highly pressured. So that small compact bait just offers so many things for us with farther cast, fishing the bait a little faster and a little deeper without having that big bulky bait. And it has been an amazing product for us for over 25 years altogether. And we hand make every bait, we hand paint every bait to order. So we don't stock anything here. We're here in the shop now. I'll kind of fan around. We've got some baits now. I hope you can see this. Actually turning on our drying wheel down there now. So we use these big drying wheels to dry all of our baits. Once we hand paint them and hand clear coat them, they dry for 24 hours and then we assemble them. And yeah, so we use all high quality parts. We got Spro ball bearing swivels on there, Mustad Ultra Point hooks. All of our blades are copper stamped. We don't use any steel blades, so they don't rust. It's a high quality spinnerbait with a really nice paint job on there. And it takes a lot of time to do what we do with that, with our blades and with our heads. And like you said, I mean, these things have been around for a long time. This is not something new for us. We change colors, we add a few things, we add a size here and there, but that bait has been proven. We've had hundreds of tournaments won on the mini me spinnerbait over the years.
Yeah, and when you think about too, you mentioned Hartwell and of course Lanier, and if anybody's ever fished those bodies of water, it's sure you can go fish the bank on those lakes, but really a lot of those spotted bass are offshore, and if it's windy, the wind's blowing, and it's this time of year, you're always going to get some wind. That compact bait with that weight below the skirt really makes it easy to throw that bait a long distance, especially in that clear water where you don't want to get, the fish don't want to see you. They want to see the bait. So that's one of the really cool things of that little bait.
When we build these, Mike, we make like our standard mini me setup is a 3.5 on the front and a 4 willow on the back. And this is an actual 1 ounce spinnerbait right here, which is, I mean, if you can see my hand, it's a really small bait. And not only is it so good because of the size visually, but I can move that bait pretty fast, 2 feet below the surface. And that is a big deal in that clear water, not giving them too good a look and making them just come up and react to the bait.
Yeah, and you can fish at different depths too, because as well as I do, they're not always going to be on the surface. They might be down. You can get that 1 ounce bait right down there really quick.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Sandy's got a question about best bait in stained water. I'm going to give you mine. It's that bait you showed just a couple minutes ago with the orange blade on the front. And I do a little bit. The one you showed has a willow on the back. I like that combination of bait. And you made these special for me. You made them with a Colorado gold blade on the back and the red blade on the front. And I just like that in that dirty water because it thumps a lot more and you can wind it a lot slower.
That's exactly right. It's the double Colorado is so much better in the real stained water, and just a lot more vibration on there. And we make it like you said. We've even made them for, I think, one store in Alabama we make with an orange blade on the front and a chartreuse Colorado on the back. So I mean that is a dirty water thing. If you've ever, some of the probably Warrior River or somewhere over there where it's super dirty, they're moving that thing around. There's
a couple other things that you've got too that I got a chance to look at these last year at the East Tennessee Fishing Show, and those were your football screwing heads for you guys that like to fish swim baits and stuff like that. These were really cool deals, and I like that head a lot. especially because it, you know, as well as I do it, it rips the, if you don't fish with one, it rips the swim bait right off your head. You catch a couple of those spots. This solves that problem.
Yeah, swim baiting real big in the clear water, and over the years we have been able to catch fish on swim baits, whether it be on an underspin or whatever at Lanier. But keeping that thing on the bottom is real important during the wintertime right now. So we came out with this head. It's a football head. It has a screw lock on the shank, and you can screw your swim bait up on that, and it'll save your swim bait. And this technique is really good on Lanier, Hartwell, Kiwi, all the clear lakes that are herring lakes special. That technique has just basically taken over. Both the Bassmaster and the FLW that was here 2 years ago were won on this technique. We also make a swimming head that has the exact same screw lock on the shank with a nice light wire 4/0 hook on there. And we make this in an 1/8 and a 1/4 and a 3/8. And we're finding not only are guys using this for swimming, but the Alabama rig. This is a great head for the Alabama rig. So you don't lose your swim baits. You don't have to worry about gluing them. And we sell these in a 4-pack and a 10-pack. So if you're at Alabama rigging, you can do 2 rigs with the 10-pack. You don't have to buy multiple things. You just buy 1 pack of heads and you've got everything you need there. And we've had great success with this head for now almost 3 years. Probably the first time that you saw it at the show from us was 2 or 3 years ago. And we just pair that up with one of our swim baits. We have, like a lot of companies, we make a 3.3 and a 3.8 swimming soft swim bait. And that technique on Lanier right now is probably that, and jig fishing is probably the number one thing, will be for the next couple of months.
Yeah. What's, we didn't get to talk about this the other day, but just in case people want to know, maybe they're going to go down to Lake Lanier here in the next couple of days. We've had some pretty good weather. It's not been horribly cold, but it's been stable, which at least, here in East Tennessee, is that relating to pretty good fishing down here in the lake?
It's been pretty good, and it's always good at Lanier in the wintertime. It's a very good cold water lake. We have the big spotted bass. Right now the lake is completely full, which is not the best possible thing we can have for winter fishing. We like the water to be drawn down a little bit. Corps of Engineers haven't been doing that in the last couple of years, but taking that football head, you're talking 1/2 ounce, and putting a swim bait on it, dragging it down those guts or out on those flats that are anywhere from 20 to 50 feet of water has been really good. And because the lake is up, there's a really good shallow bite right now too. A lot of guys are just taking a crankbait or a jig, or the best thing right now is probably just take a jig head, take a 3/16 ounce jig head with a straight worm on it, and just throw it up on the rock somewhere where the sun's on it in 5 to 20 feet of water. And not a lot of bites up there, but the ones you are catching are really big. And tournaments right now, it's taking almost 20 pounds still to win. Every tournament, even little local tournaments with 15 or 20 boats, is taking 18 to 20 pounds, and that's 4 or 5 hour tournaments right now, all spotted bass.
Everybody's saying, yeah, it's cold down here right now. Yeah, it sure is. It's today was actually pretty nice here in East Tennessee. It was about 50 degrees, I guess, and it's still a little bit too cold for me to want to go fish unless I have to. I'm heading to the Chick next week to fish a tournament. And I don't care how cold it is. You get excited anytime you get down there and you have a chance to catch a 10 or a 12 pounder. So we'll see what happens.
I agree. And, here the water temperature is still 50 degrees. So that's, anything above 45 on Lanier is good water temp. And, 45 is kind of our death zone. Once we get to 45, it gets really hard. But anything 47, 48, especially 50 degrees, I mean, you can really catch them well. Swim baiting, I think there's still some guys, slow rolling the spinner baiting, catching them right now as well. And but for me, it's been the swim bait, it's been the jigs. We make a nice hand tied jig. We've been using that out there on the out there in the deep water, 40 to 50 feet deep, and those guys just kind of get glued on the bottom, and they're easy to catch once you locate them.
Yeah. Anything new coming out, or something you didn't talk about yet? You want to cover?
We didn't do anything new, Mike. We've done a couple new colors of our spinner baits. We've got a really nice Texas crawl color that's about to come out for our spinner baits. I actually don't have one here. I had some, and they all got gone. The guys working around here swiped them up. So We're in the process of having skirts made for that. It's going to be a really nice. It's a red and it's actually yellow, not chartreuse. It's a red and yellow body, and we'll have a skirt to match with a little bit of black in there as well. So it's kind of a nice. It's a nice bait that Bill made probably 20 years ago for a few people, and now that the reds and the really bright colors have become real popular, we're going to do a version of that with possibly with a red blade and a gold blade, like you prefer, and double gold as well.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident I'm going to have that bait tied on next week when I'm there at the check. You never know when something's going to eat that color. It's awesome with that little red blade in front. But one more time on your website where people can find you.
It's spotsticker.com. We have a Facebook page that we keep updated fairly regular. That's got a lot of the pictures. There's a picture on there of the Texas red spinnerbait, which we'll have on the site pretty soon. And just check us out. I mean, we have been in business for a long time, and we make a good product, and we take care of our orders pretty quickly.